I went to real estate agent school for that purpose, but guess what I found out? There was so much stuff I didn't know about. One of them in particular was title insurance. I didn't understand that, and we don't have time to get into it right here, but I'd recommend you get title insurance on everything you buy.
You're listening to 5 Hour Real Estate Week, where you'll learn to consistently buy real estate in only 5 hours a week. So if you're ready to invest in real estate, achieve financial freedom, and own the lifestyle you deserve, even with your job, this is the show for you. Now, here's your host, Mike Butler.
Okie dokie. Hello there, Mike Butler here, and in this episode, we're going to talk about education. And education is what's going to set you apart and keep you eons ahead of your competition and folks that just want to do it willy-nilly, shoot from the hip kind of stuff. So you must set goals every year, okay? And part of those goals every year is creating a budget that includes education. So just like property taxes, insurance, phones, utilities, advertising, you should always include X number of dollars for education for that year. And don't view that as a wasted expense or something you can cut back on. In fact, that's one that you should really expand upon a little bit. Try to cut back on utilities. Try to cut back on insurance. Try to cut back on property taxes, okay? But your education is so crucial into staying on top of and staying 2 steps ahead of whatever the trends are and things like that. So don't try to reinvent the wheel, okay? Get a coach, a mentor who has a proven track record, not some self-proclaimed, I can't say that word, proclaimed guru who bought a duplex and now he's an expert and he wants to teach you how to be a real estate investor. Avoid that. Okay, even to this day, I hire mentor, consultant, coaches, although they cost about 20 times more than when I got started going to boot camps and seminars and buying home training systems and things like that. Yeah, the more knowledgeable you get, the more it costs to get expert, competent advice. So I'd recommend also this. Go to real estate agent school. Not to become a real estate agent. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, but here's what I learned. I went to real estate agent school for the wrong reason. I thought if I went to real estate agent school and I got my license, that would put me in a position to have a big trump card that I could play with other real estate agents. For example, that, not only could I take half the commission, but what I wanted to do was to treat my real estate agents as bird dogs and said, you know what, Sally, if you'd have brought me that deal and I didn't have to find it on the MLS, I'd have let you keep both sides of the commission. Now, if I'm not licensed, I can't say that, okay? So I went to real estate agent school for that purpose, but guess what I found out? There was so much stuff I didn't know about. One of them in particular was title insurance. I didn't understand that, and we don't have time to get into it right here, but I'd recommend you get title insurance on everything you buy. I used not to because I said I'd ask my attorney doing the closing, which is not Harry at that time. This fellow's dead. And he'd say, you want to get title insurance? I said, well, why do I want to do that? And he says, well, just in case something was missed on the title exam. Well, that's your fault. I'm going to come after you if you screwed up, missed something. What I didn't know is people can have an interest in property and it not be recorded at the courthouse. I didn't know that. So anyway, there's a lot of things that you can learn. If you're going to be in this game called real estate, shouldn't you get as much knowledge and information as you can, learn the pieces and parts and what they do and how they work, things like that. So it's kind of like if you want to be a veterinarian when you grow up, you go to school. Well, would you want to work at a grocery store and sack groceries, or would you rather get a job helping out at a veterinarian's office or working with animals somewhere, okay? So education is very, very important. Now, fair housing training. This kind of gets my goat. There's REIA groups all over America that do not emphasize this. And you know what, guys? Fair housing is like the rule book. It's the federal, state, and local rule book on what you can and can't do in residential housing. It involves banks. It involves loaning money. It involves telling folks what neighborhoods are good or bad. You can't do that. That's called steering. It's called blockbusting. All kinds of things in there I never knew. And most folks, like me and you, we're investing a lot of our time, energy, and what little money we had to get started with into this to be our pension, basically. And you could get it ruined because of something you didn't know about. Think about this. When I was a policeman in uniform, especially, lock somebody up, they're sitting in the back seat of my police car and we're on the way to jail. They go, well, I didn't know that was against the law. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me stop here and unhandcuff you and let you go. That's not a get out of jail free card. So if you violate something in fair housing, just because you didn't know about it doesn't mean that, okay, you're free to go. No, they can ruin your life. The penalties are outrageous and stuff. So fair housing is a must. I offer free fair housing training for you on my website. Yeah, it's a little 19-minute video, but it gives you an idea of what it's about, okay? Now, that's at MikeButler.com for the free fair housing training video. How about this on your education? IRS, that's a partner you can never get rid of. Wouldn't you want to know what they're up to and what you can do and can't do and deductions and all that stuff? I'm not going to tell you be an expert, but your CPA should be, and you should always be looking out for updates on these tax laws, especially the ones that were changed December of 2017. How about tax stuff? Taxes, they're always changing. Stay current with that stuff. In fact, I just did a 2-hour training session yesterday. It's today, yeah. Yesterday on tax updates, and I learned a bunch of stuff that I didn't know. Okay? Another thing for your education, how'd you like free investor training? I've got those every Tuesday at 12 noon. I call it my power lunches. And because I was a football player, we used to have on Mondays what's called Chalk Talks. And so I started off calling it Power Lunch Chalk Talks. And it's basically 20 to 45 minutes of meat and taters training just for you every week. Okay, Tuesday at 12 noon. And we get a ton of folks from all over the country that attend those free investor training webinars, the Power Lunches. And another thing when it comes to education is, how would you like to get 30 years of my experience crammed into 3 days? Think that might help you be more efficient, more effective, learn how to buy better? 29 ways to buy without banks, without money, without credit, without private lenders, without partners, while working your job. So the very first 3-day boot camp I did on that, the name of it was How to Make Your First Million with Your Job, because that's what I did. And I love you if you've got a job and it is tough out there. You've got 5 hours a week. And how do you be efficient with that? And I see so many folks think, well, I don't have time to do that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So these are a must. Take the 3-day boot camp called Buy Without Banks. I put that on once or twice a year in my hometown. And not only do we sit in class and I show you what to look for, different ways to buy, how to write up your offers, then we get on, and then I show you how to go to the MLS any day of the week and find killer deals that other folks, including real estate agents, can't even see. So we pick those out on Friday morning. Then Saturday morning, we load up on an executive coach and we go out and look at each one of these houses. And here's my goal. I'm going to show you how to arrive there, walk around the outside of the house, walk through the inside of the house, go back, sit down, and write up your offer and do all that in 15 minutes or less on each house. Talking about being efficient. That works. Okay? Then I have my Buy Without Banks, Money, Credit, Private Lenders, or Partners home training system. And this is basically that 3-day boot camp in a box, but it's got a lot more information, and you can go through it at a pace you feel comfortable with. And you can find both of these on MikeButler.com. And we're talking about education here. So your bottom line is your education never stops. Mine doesn't. And 100% guarantee, let me guarantee you this, you will never, ever get a deal if you never, ever make an offer. Think about that. Okay, so if you want to get a deal, you got to make an offer. Is every offer going to be perfect? Is every offer going to get accepted? I wish they would. But no, you're going to get used to a lot of rejection, and that's okay. But you want to target and find those motivated sellers. And education goes across the board on everything in real estate from A to Z. Okay, so that wraps up this one, kind of short, to the point. Then our next session here, you're really going to love this next episode. And because now we're going to talk about how to launch this puppy, how to turn it on, and get it working for you. So let's wrap this one up, and adios. See you on the next one.
Glad you joined us for another episode of 5 Hour Real Estate Week. The best thing you can do now is put this information to action. To help you get started, Mike created a free resource for you called How to Buy 50 Houses a Year, Even with Your Job. Download it now by going to mikebutler.com/50 houses. And we'll see you on the next episode.